You're back. Wow. Well, don't worry, because a lot of our viewers or those who will be seeing this later would maybe see the screen as just me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to reintroduce you one more time. This is Monique Weber, and she is a businesswoman woman who started her own business. The name of her company is ML.
WPR.
WPR. I did it right, guys, in the beginning. But she was really kind of telling us how she started her business and what kind of led her to start her business. I'm going to kind of let her just to share a little bit, but because we kind of had a little rocky beginning. So if you can share a little bit of just a little bit of that and then jump back where you left off.
So just to reiterate, I started my own business 2 years ago, but I've been in public relations for over 23 years now. So public relations, my company, we represent beauty, fashion, and lifestyle brands. So a lot of the brands that we have, you will find in Sephora, Ulta, Target. So like we have Melanin Hair Care, we have Alodia Hair Care, we have Unsun Cosmetics, all things that you can find in like a drugstore or in Target, like I said. And then I was explaining to Danielle that I was working with an agency 2 years ago, and we were, of course, sent home to work from home. And it was during that time that I decided that I was going to launch my own thing and focus on minority-owned companies and bringing those companies to the forefront and getting them major press placements and celebrity placements.
Wow. See, and the one thing I liked that you had mentioned, you said, when you were, kind of pushed home alone, working from home basically, and your ideas start thinking. And then I believe, purpose started to come up and like, hey, wait a minute, I'm working for somebody else. I can do this for myself, especially when they said you couldn't move.
Yeah. I mean, I have always wanted to start my own PR agency. And I, had thought about it and like I looked into it and tried to form a PR agency with two friends in the past. And it just didn't, like, they didn't have the same passion that I had about it because they actually weren't in PR.
Yeah.
They were doing other things and they were just like, okay, yeah, I guess we can start a PR agency, So
Yeah.
it really wasn't their thing. So anytime you're trying to do something with someone else, it really needs to be kind of their thing too.
Yes.
In order for it to pop off, right? Like it can't just be you doing all the work and then they're just kind of tagging along. Because that's kind of what it was. It was like, well, it's a PR agency. All right, Mo, like most of you do all the PR stuff, and we'll just come in whenever. But it's like, no, then I don't need you.
Yes.
Love you, but I don't need you if I'm going to do all the work anyway.
I know.
So needless to say, that didn't work out. So I ended up just staying at the agency that I was employed by. And just working from home, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to just leave and do my own thing because it just doesn't make sense to continue to do this for someone else when, I can easily just do this on my own. And I just think that being at home just made me realize that I didn't need all those things that I thought I needed. Like I didn't need a showroom. I didn't need a staff. I didn't need, all these other things. All I needed was to just bring my talent to the table. And to just believe that I could just do it on my own. Really, it's belief. It's belief in yourself. So as long as you believe that you can actually do it and just start moving towards making it happen, you find that like doors just start opening, like other things just start coming your way, and God will make a way for it to happen.
I believe that.
So, God never puts anything on your heart that is not for you. Like it's there for a reason, right? So I was thinking about it for so many years, and it's like, okay, like when are you gonna do it?
when you finally did
It's
it,
COVID now. Like, do it.
when you were able to buy that house where you
And you
wanted
want to
to,
buy a
right?
house, so
Nothing is
do
controlling
it.
you.
Which could have been another like fear to like, because I'm trying to buy a house, like, why would I leave a job?
That's true.
I'm now trying to buy a house. Like, why would I leave a job?
That's true.
Like, that's security. Like, I have a paycheck that's coming. If I leave to do my own thing, I don't know if that's going to succeed or not.
So it took faith for you to step
It took
out
a
and trust.
lot of faith. And once I started seeing that I was actually landing clients, I was like, Monique, what have you been waiting for?
Look.
Look.
How are you
What
able
is
to
coming to
balance
you?
your business and being mom?
How do I balance a
Is
business?
it better than, like, do you see the difference from when you were actually working for the company, or is it somewhat still the same that you still have to make it,
No, I
you know,
actually find it easier
I knew you
being
was going to
on
say
my
that.
own
Hmm.
than working for someone else, because when you work for someone else, like, you're on their time.
Yes.
And to me, I know a lot of people value money, but to me, time is extremely valuable. It's actually more valuable to me than money, because you have to be mindful of how you use every minute of your day. And
You can't buy time
don't let people waste your time.
back. Time. And that goes for, like you're saying, companies. When you have something that you really want to do in this world, sometimes it takes a little while to figure what that is. And then once you do it, like you just said earlier, you said, I thought I needed this and this, and you had made this list, or you got rid of the list, you stepped out on faith, and you trusted yourself, and you had confidence in yourself as well. As confidence and trust in God, you also have to have that, because you can trust God, but if you don't really believe it in yourself, you know what I mean? You won't really step out on faith to actually make it happen. And hearing you say that these are the things I did, this is what pushed me into walking into the thing that I was already doing for somebody else. I knew I could do it, on my own. And you know, that encourage to me, I believe it should encourage other people, because you would be amazed, Monique, on how many people um don't actually step out. I have an uncle who I love so much. He passed away. And Kevon, I see you in the waiting room. I'm gonna bring you in too. He's gonna come in. Monique, you're more than welcome to stay. If you have to go, that's fine. But if you want to just stay when I bring him in and introduce him, and we can all have, like, you can leave whenever you want, but I'm just giving you
Chit
that
chat.
opportunity to stay.
That's
But
fine. But yeah, I guess my message to everyone would be, if you know what you want to do, there's a lot of people that just don't know what they want to do. Let's start there. If you don't know what you want to do, I would say definitely don't do something that you don't have any passion for. Don't do something just for money, because
wow.
you'll find that just doing it just for money, if you don't really like it, you're going to hate it anyway. No matter how much money it is, it's not going to bring you joy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the money on top of that doesn't really bring you joy either, because you're working, you're going to something that you can't stand, and like every single day is torture for you. Like, why do I have to do this? And
I
they could
know.
be paying you like 6 figures, but still it's why do I have to do this? So everyone has that something that they really, really love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what they need to do.
I mean, that sounds so
So
simple, but that's so
yeah, it's really simple. So there's all kind of things that I'm sure you can do. God has given us all these different talents, right? Some people have more talents than others. But whatever it is that you're talented in, it may not be like entertainment wise, like you're singing or dancing. Like, you could be like a great communicator. You can be like a great counselor. You can be, you know, someone that's really a great artist or a
Wow.
great graphic designer. Like, it doesn't have to be like something that's entertainment. When you talk about talents, you can be like a great negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a talent.
Yeah. Because
So,
everybody can't do that.
yeah,
You
like a
know?
great educator. So whatever it is that is your talent that you know that you absolutely love doing, that is your purpose. That is what you're supposed to be doing, and that is how you're supposed to show up in the world. That's how you help other people. The talents that we're given are meant not for us, but they're for other people.
Yes.
We are meant to serve other people.
Ooh, I like that. I
So
love that.
yeah, like anything that you want to do should be in service to someone else. It's to make the world better. It's not just for you. And the more that you are able to serve, the more that you will be blessed,
I
the
agree.
more that you will receive.
I definitely, that's really,
There's just so many more blessings that come to you for being a blessing to someone else.
Monique, now you preaching now. This is good. Because it's amazing when you said time. We cannot buy time.
You
And
cannot buy
so
time.
many people, we want money, we want this, we want that. And there's nothing wrong with
There's
wanting
nothing
to.
wrong. No. And nothing is wrong with money. I actually don't think money is evil.
No, me
There's
neither.
a lot of people that are like, money is the source of evil.
No,
No, money is not
no.
evil. It's the person that has that money and what they do with that money that makes it evil. But everybody needs money. Like, you need money. That's how you
To help others, give.
help others. Is how you will and deal in the world. Like, you need
Yes.
money. Like, you need a place to live. Like, you need money. So it's just silly to be like, yeah, you don't need that. No, yes, you do.
We're gonna
It's just
go
what
ahead
you
and
do with that money.
yes, I definitely agree. We have Kevon that's going to be joining
Okay,
us.
bring them on.
He is, well, I'm going to introduce him. Well, bring him on and then introduce you, Kevon.
Already, what's up? Hey.
Hey.
Guys, look, I want to introduce you guys to Kevon, this brilliant, intelligent father, business owner. He is just flourishing. I've been watching him and seeing him, and I have the blessing to call both of these individuals my family because we are family as well.
Yes,
And
indeed.
yeah, and so I wanted to just bring him on. Kevon, you want to kind of finish off, kind of dive into why you started your business, your company, and yeah, go ahead and tell everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening in and you guys were hitting it, Monique. You was preaching.
Yes.
You have to know what you want to do, and that has to be your main focus, and you have to act on faith so God can let it manifest in reality. And that's kind of something I had to do. It took me almost like till I was 30 years old, but I feel like I'm finally catching my stride. I didn't know if I wanted to be programming video games while I was going to college. At the same time, I'm hanging out, recording with friends. I don't know if I want to be an engineer. At the same time, I don't know if I want to be a spotlight or be a rapper. So having all these different focuses, I was just manifesting a lot of confusion, trying to start a relationship, trying to be a family man, trying to work, pay bills, because you have to have money. Money is a tool until you can obtain an abundance and then really have fun with it. But yeah, I was just doing the thing. But COVID, even though it was a bad time for certain people, a lot of people, and my soul goes out to everybody who lost their life to
Mhm.
COVID. But that was a time for me to really sit down and refine myself because
Wow.
everybody was put on furlough. I'm so used to working 60 hours a week, as a W-2 employee. That was life, and that was my income. But, the time where we got a great furlough, everybody's getting paid. Instead of just blowing my money and just watching TV or being lazy, I actually started reading books. I started looking into credit, started building my own credit. I started
Wow.
working out, going to the gym. And in the gym, like that right there was the main thing that kind of like reprogrammed my mind, just having the mindset to go and stay consistent and to track it and to see what manifests, my vision manifests. Cause I was scrying. Y'all know, y'all, we family. I know how little I used to be. But just all that collectively over 2020, by the time it was to get back into the market, I fixed my credit. I got to a point to where I can actually start utilizing it and help build my business. I took all the steps of starting my own business. You got to get your, here's the jewels. Like, people got to take heed, whoever watched this. Find what you love to do, like Monique was saying. Find your passion, something that's fun. If you can find something that's fun to do, monetize it. Go ahead and invest a couple of $100 and to have a business on paper. Get an LLC, get an S corp. You can do business as with your social security number, but you can get a free employee identification number, and after that, you can file online and get an LLC and be legit.
Yes.
Once you take the simple steps, get a business email address, a business telephone number, get a business bank account, and it's super cheap because everything you can get is virtual and digital these days. After that, I'm kind of like preaching at the same time, talking about my steps. So I say after that because when I got back, when the economy opened back up, and I started going back to work, my eyes kind of opened because, just having the free money, and I'm not used to having that much of abundance without having to do much. It kind of reprogrammed me. So after working my way in the audiovisual field, that's what I do. These toys right here. I used to want to pursue rapping, and everything that I had to pay for and every service that I wish I could have found from somebody, I over time learned the trades, and now I got everything to be anything I ever wanted. But I learned that you can be an artist and you can be putting on a show. That's one service, but a lot of people behind the scene provide some of the biggest services, from sound to video to lighting to special effects, and this is my niche. So I worked my way from an entry-level technician to a director for Audiovisual Corporation, one of the largest corporations. So just after soaking in all the knowledge I can, and here's when God timing play in, it took me working in that field for about 8 years to really get a good name and rapport with a lot of people in the market I work in up in Dallas and Fort Worth. So come back to, the economy opens 2021. Instead of just going back to the norm, I took everything and actually implemented, started a business during that time. Even though the economy wasn't open, I was paying for trade lines, and I was, just paying for things to, get expenses, get my business going. And when the economy opened back up, I left my job on good terms and started freelancing through my business, doing the same exact thing. But now that I'm a contractor and it's through my business, the income is way better, way more lucrative. You got to be responsible, with your taxes. You got to keep expenses to offset your taxable income. But I just had a whole mindset change. It was a lot of praying. It was a lot of focusing. It was a lot of books. I like to shout out Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil, that's by Napoleon Hill. Everybody knows Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but they all talk about mindsets. You have to have you have to write stuff down. You have to speak it with confidence. It's equivalent to praying. As a Christian, as Baptists, we pray in Jesus' name, and we have faith that God's going to do it. But that's actually
one part of it.
That's the only part of it. Yeah.
One part of it. You have to, because I journal, and my journaling is what you do. Even though some people don't call it, they don't journal. You can just write things down or make a list or whatever. But I always have found that when I journal and I pray or write, or I might write prayers down or goals down. I even do a vision board.
Yes, that's always it. That helps it. That's where it's at, and people would think you're crazy when you try to reiterate the things you did to manifest the things you got. And that's just where the faith comes in. That's just, you just got to keep going, because I always was aware. I read The Secret years ago, and it just taught me how to really focus, speak on what I want, and just move in action and take every little thing that happens to me as a sign that it's going in my direction, because I have faith and I'm thinking positive about it. But I didn't really take heed on the opportunity. But now I'm on the same, I'm praying. I'm literally, like you said, writing stuff down. I need to get a vision board to look at every day, and you will manifest. Just keep walking in faith in the path that you have right here. You see it.
Kevon, you know what? God, Monique said something earlier that was so powerful, and you are saying something really good too. But you know what, too? God is so, man, he's so good. Y'all, see, y'all getting me stirred up here. He's so good because in the Bible it says faith without works. Because you got all these other books like secular books like Secrets and all that. But even in the Bible in itself, is basically saying exactly what they're saying. But it's all because God say faith without works. So that means you have to have faith. But then
Right.
you have to do
You have
what?
to
Work.
have work.
You
You
have
have
to
to act
start
on it.
walking into it. A lot of Christians, some people, they just pray about it, but they don't move into putting actions behind it.
Yeah.
And when we do that, when we trust God, we know that God is um a supernatural entity. He is supernatural. He's omnipresent. So he sees your faith and he sees your heart. And these are some of the things he put in you already. So he's going to go and say, okay, Monique, you had this vision. It was already in you in the first place. But now you have come into your own understanding that you can do it now. And as soon as faith hit her actions, it happened. Same thing, Kevon. Soon as you're understanding that you have confidence in yourself, not only do you love God, but you have confidence in yourself at that point. Now you can do it. Now you're seeing things open up. Now you're seeing the doors open up. And I believe so many people who are watching us right now, like those who it's people out there that are really afraid of stepping out on faith. And maybe it's not starting their own business. Maybe it's actually getting into a career or being a doctor, or maybe it's something else other than starting your own business. But
Hmm.
whatever it is, if you feel like God has put it inside of you to do, you got to have the faith. It won't hurt to, like you guys said, exercise, writing these things down, prayer,
Acting
trusting,
on it and
acting on it.
writing things down is just a tangible memory. You can pray for it and focus on it, but like writing it down is powerful. Keep it in your face, because we're all, mind can be convoluted with everything or through daily activities, but every time you go in to wash your hands, you see that right there. I'm going to do this. And
Yeah, it's like a contract with yourself.
yeah.
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
your
Just
it's, it's
write
your
it
it's
down.
your it's your words. Like that's like books are jewels because somebody wrote that stuff down.
Yeah.
Power in what you speak. In the Bible talk about the power in your words. A lot of times we don't, because in my mind, I had to pause because we're talking about this. Monique, it goes back to what you said earlier. You said something about time.
Mhm.
And while we're here on time, sometimes we don't take moments and do some of the things that you guys are suggesting to do, like writing things down. In one moment, somebody, whoever created the computer, those who advanced the computer, expand the idea of software. It took someone to think about it. It took
Hmm.
Yeah,
someone
and
to
it
take
takes someone to,
time
yeah.
to think about it, right? So time is something you cannot buy, but it's so precious to organize your time, organize your thought pattern. And when you start writing things down and taking moments to meditate with you and God, and meditate just on your goals and things that are in you, that is valuable. And
Mhm.
sometimes people just think, oh, they're just, doing that. But that's where businesses are being born, ideas. I created um I created my publishing company. Now, Monique, and Kevon, y'all know that since I was probably young, that I'm always writing, right? I've always had the passion to have some kind of paper in my hand
Hmm.
all my life. But I never thought I would ever start a publishing company or even do a podcast because I like to talk too. But I never thought that I would do that. But it took me to do what you guys are suggesting to do, or what you guys have done. Just take my time to, focus and write things down. Or it took events to push me into that. Let me ask you guys this question, and both of you guys can probably answer, one at a time. Now that you're in your business, when you look back, do you see moments that like left clues that you will be doing what you're doing now?
I'll let you go first, Monique.
Um, like I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier. Like
You
I've been
did.
wanting to do. I've been in PR for so long that at some point I knew that I would end up doing my own thing within it. But at the same time, I also had other passions too. Like I sing, I write, I act, I do other things. But I never allowed having a 9 to 5 job in PR to stop me from doing the other things that I wanted to do. Um, and that's another thing that I wanted to say to your viewers is that, like, try your other stuff out. Like, try out all the other things that you really love to do, and then decide where you want to go. But give everything a chance. So, because you don't like, for me, like I said, I was modeling, I was singing, I was acting, I was doing all kind of stuff, but I would not have known what was going to be the best thing for me if I had not tried all the other stuff.
Wow, that's good.
And then, I had to get that out of my system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to know, like, oh yeah, yes, if I really wanted to be a singer, that, like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I know how to do it, sort of, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I ended up just going, okay, well, this is the path that's really opening up, so let's just go that way. But had I, put more attention and more focus in those other things, those would probably have opened up doors for me too. But at least I tried it, and at least as I get older, I don't have to be like, well, I used to sing, but I never really tried to sing ever.
Yeah.
You got to try it to know. And it's never, and dealing with time, like, you have enough time. Like, it's not, oh, I can only do this while I'm in my 20s. No, you can do it whenever. You have enough time. Like, you're not on, you don't have an expiration date on when you can try something that you've always wanted to try. Just do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, mine, ironically, like I was mentioned earlier, I wanted to be a rapper, so I was always, just trying to be the artist, but at the same time, being frugal, I taught myself how to engineer to save money. But then I noticed as being a rapper, every time I'm doing features with other artists and we're in the studio having the knowledge, I always find myself engineering. So then I started, then I had my own studio, but I never put it on paper. If I was aware, actually did my due diligence, I could have started a studio back then because everything was underground, local clients, people who became stars, like I have sessions with Mo3 from Dallas, Texas, in my laptop, verses from Trap Boy Freddy, Beat King. These are Texas artists that Athens, Texas, East Texas artists, got features and they got me to mix and master. But when I found, my job, that it became a career because I loved it. I was working audio visual for a company called Encore, and it's a lot of corporate American events, everything from industrial engineering all the way to Botox and collagen implants. You meet a lot of CEOs, you meet a lot of talented people because they get keynote speakers to either entertain or to either inform all their guests they have on these seminars. So I get to shake hands with a lot of powerful people, get up close and personal. But over the year, God always had me in those environments to be engineering, working with audio, the same thing, being under pressure of, people want it perfect, they want it fast, and they want it efficient. They pay money for it, they want it right, and I do it at the highest caliber. And now that I'm freelancing, it just opened a whole nother ballgame because I get majority of my income operating as an audio engineer. So that means it's just me and my mind and moving. I'm building inventory. So when I get to the point to where my reputation is, people are coming at me for big events, that's a lot of money. And with the network I've built of people in the industry, I can get a crew on call and do the sales side, and I could just the sky's the limit.
Kevon, what would you share? What kind of tips or advice you would have for viewers who might want to actually, venture off in your field that you're doing now? Like, what would be some, like, you might have learned different things, um, I'm pretty much, you're in the field. So, what would be really great advice for those who might want to venture off into doing what you're doing?
Yeah, find you can go online. Excuse me. You can go online and just look up local audio visual companies, and they may have local companies that's hiring. And YouTube, like YouTube has the collective knowledge of mankind right now, and it's free education. There's a lot of stuff on how to operate all the latest softwares, all the latest devices. So you really got to do your due diligence, because it's a fun market. You know, I'm biased to it. It's a fun market. A lot of people want to do it. So when you have small demand, I'm sorry, you got a high demand but limited places, your value could be decreased. So in order to set yourself apart and increase your value, you have to come with it. You have to know what you're doing. But there's trade schools for it. There's universities like Full Sail that can teach you audio visual. But hindsight, I went to Media Tech Institute. It was a trade school. I loved it. It was worth it. But after putting in the years in the industry, you pretty much get hands-on experience that expedite that process, free of charge. So it just depends on like how confident you are. If you need to go get a real education for it, you can get it in audio engineering or recording arts, live sound production. Those are some things you can find a degree on or certification. But I'd say just Google who's doing audio visual and try to get on board, learn as much as you can hands-on. And if you love it, it won't feel like work.
That's good. Monique, what would you say if someone wants to get into the field that you're already currently in? What would be some great advice for them to kind of follow?
Well, for anyone that wants to get into public relations, I would suggest interning for a PR firm. It only takes about a year to intern for a PR firm. And hopefully you land at a PR firm that actually gives you hand-on advice, and they let you deal with clients, and like they're really trying to teach you throughout your internship. I know some interns, they feel like, oh, I'm just getting coffee. But if you happen to get with a great company that actually wants you to learn, then that's what you should be looking for. And then, of course, maybe take some communications classes. You can take those at like local colleges, and just, try to find a mentor.
That's good. I think that would be really good, especially because in PR, you can kind of go in different directions with PR. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, there's personal PR. There's publicists that actually handle talent instead of products. There's PR for pretty much everything. There's like crisis PR. So if you like to have that kind of pressure and stress, then go into that. But there's all types of public relations. I just kind of fell into it, to be honest with you. I was a model at the time, and I was modeling for BCBG, and the owners just really loved me, and they loved my personality. And they asked me if I would consider doing PR, because I was modeling and I was singing, and I knew like a lot of people that were in like the entertainment industry, and they were like, well, you could just dress your friends. I was like, yes. Okay. So that's how I kind of got into PR. So, but I didn't have any experience in it at all. I just took who I knew.
That's good.
And what they asked me to do, and just went from there and just hustled. I decided that like, if I'm going to do it, then I want to be successful at it. Then I want to like really succeed and like dive into it and give it my all. So I was doing really well. I was dressing like everyone. I was dressing Beyonce, Katy Perry, Rihanna, like everyone in the music industry I was dressing at the time.
Wow.
Nice.
But yeah, I would just say find a mentor. Really, it's in anything that you want to do, you should find a mentor. Find someone that you respect within that industry, and really be open to learning from them. It's open. Definitely. That's the key word. You have to be open. You can't go into it thinking that you know everything, because you don't.
Listen, when you let me say this, guys, I'm gonna have a transparent moment. When me and Monique were younger, and then she's so determined, like when she is she have her eyes set on something, she's going to learn it or learn the things that she needs to get to where she needs to be. I remember she had the singing group,
Mhm.
and she tried to pull me along. I never, guys, I never thought I could really sing. I would sing, I love singing, but I just, her voice, she has like this really beautiful voice. To me, it always came natural. To me, I felt like I had to work hard,
That's a
to hit
blessing.
those
You're
notes.
lucky. You're lucky if you got singing like naturally. Like if I knew how to sing, I wouldn't even conversate. I'd sing to everybody. Why not?
Whole conversation is just a song.
No, she really pushed me. She was like, "Hey, we're gonna meet Quincy Jones," and most young people, like if Quincy, back especially back then, and I mean, I was like, I'm not the singer, like I was the what, Monique, I was the what, always what you saw me always doing what, writing, right?
Writing. Yeah, you were always writing.
I was always writing, and doing something crazy, start, like we did those fun things with those pants, uh, being
Yeah.
creative.
I mean, essentially, I'm still doing stuff that I've done as a child. Like I'm still in fashion.
Yeah,
It's just a
yes,
different iteration of
grown up
fashion.
with.
I'm still in fashion, but I'm just
Wow.
not the model or I'm not the designer, but I still promote fashion designers.
Yeah, it's
Still in
amazing.
that universe.
Yeah, I'm still in the universe. Like,
Yeah.
I may not be the singer, but I'm still working with the musicians.
You kind of
Right.
leveled up, like, because you've done that, and then you just kind of leveled up, like you went from
Yeah, I
singing
decided
to
after doing a couple
modeling.
of shows, I was like, this is not for me. All
Especially
this
being a
dancing
mom, right?
is not happening.
So
And
no,
like Kevon was saying, like when you're starting out as an artist, a lot of that is out of your pocket. And you're spending a lot
Yeah.
of your own money on these shows and like trying to get choreographers and paying for this person and paying for that person. And you're like,
Yeah.
what is going on here?
Yeah. For real.
I'm gonna have to learn how to be the background dancer.
Something that's going to generate revenue. That was me. I was like, man, like I gotta find a source of revenue. Can't just keep on being expense. Liability. It's like, you know what? This engineering is paying the bills.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
if I'm listening to seminars or something that's educational, and it's a blessing too to be in the
wow,
audio engineering because you sit down on a lot of stuff that you really ain't privy to. Um, a lot of a lot of sales seminars, they always hire these high high keynote speakers that got these crazy like informative and life lessons. Some preach, some have just motivational speaking, and I try to tell the people in my field who they kind of hinder themselves from getting to a higher status because they think that operating in a room um, pertaining to something that's not in their interest is boring. It's like, nah, you don't understand. That's a lot of free education. Like these guys paying $2,000 and $5,000 to be at this hotel at this seminar for this week for this education. We get to sit in here and listen to it free as long as we're engaged.
It's
that's
good. It's
good.
perspective.
Yeah,
All about how you see things. So
Yeah.
if you're
wow.
going into things with a negative mind state, then yeah, you're not going to get anything from it. So if you go there trying to learn something or being open to whatever it is that you can receive, then you'll get something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this before we wrap up, guys, and then I'll have you guys share something. Because we got a little few seconds. I'm gonna make this real quick. I remember in 2013, God spoke to me like literally. I was in prayer, and He said, "You're going to be in film," and I always had that desire. There was something I always wanted to do, but I didn't go to school for it. I mean, I didn't go to like a university for it. I did take classes, broadcasting, and I took classes at like at a local college. And in 2013, he said that. I'm like, well, I don't even know anybody in film. Like, I know a few people, but not really. And believe it or not, this is how God does. Now, that was 2013. Here in 2020, I meet a young lady named Erica David Taylor, and she's an advocate for like women's health and fibroids and things like that. And I met her, and I wanted to like help her, whatever she needed help with or whatever. Somehow we had a conversation, and that's how we met. And she said, "Well, I need a writer, and I'm doing a documentary." And she pulled me on. And she has a film production, and so she, joined me with her team. And then I look back at some of the things I wrote down and remember what God said, and I'm like, "Look at this." She's in film right now. We're in the process of like, she's in the process of actually, trying to get everything together for this documentary to pretty soon be completed and for everyone to see. But I just can't believe I was part of it, and God, when he tell you something and you trust him, he will surely manifest those things and bring it to pass. So guys, if
Every
y'all listen
time.
to me, trust God and watch him, bring it to pass. You guys share, something before we wrap up.
Well, I got a little quick testimony. So right in the transition of me quitting my job, but starting to my own business and to take over. One thing, it really was just a mindset to go from working for somebody to working for yourself, because it's all in the same field, it's the same network, same people, but just the mindset to take those baby steps are exponential. But in that process, me and my mom, we're outside and on my grandmother's property, you got the old building next door. It was my great grandfather's. And it was there forever to the point it was just deteriorating, 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 and we really never just took the responsibility to clean it up and get it fixed. But we were outside thinking, and I was just like, I just got done reading another book, so I'm all hyped up and stuff and on positivity. I'm like, Mom, and she was telling me too. I'm like, we got to get this building down. I don't have the budget. We really don't have the budget to do it, but we got to start acting on it. She's like, yeah, I know, we're going to get it done. I'm like, all right, we just focus on that. I say, I'm about to, I'm in my business and I'm full time, man. So just focus on me making a whole lot of money and just know that I'm going to put it right back into the property. And she was
Wow.
like, all right, we're going to do it. And then, a friend and family, Cedric and I were out there. We got some pickaxes and just started knocking it down by hand just to get a head start. And then, Uncle Junior and his boys come start helping. We're just knocking it down. And we managed to get it knocked down in like a few days. Now that kind of got the momentum rolling. So even though I know I didn't have the budget, but I could leverage some credit. I didn't have the full cash. I could leverage credit. I called and set an appointment for somebody to come out here and clean it up, get off the property, make it look real pretty. So the dude followed through an appointment. He came. After he gave me a quote, I looked him in his eyes, shook his hand. As I shook his hand, my phone buzzed in my pocket. So as I see him off, I go and I check my phone. It was an audiovisual labor vendor just gave me offered me my first contract as a freelancer. And that gig alone just paid and had a little surplus of the service I just shook that guy's hand and said that I wanted to commit to. And that was God alone. Like, it gave me chills. It gives me chills now talking about it.
Wow.
And we managed to get the project done. It's beautiful, but we visualized it, we talked about it, and we manifested it within like 3 weeks. And that really told me, like, man, if you pray, like, you got to pray as a collective. You got to think as a collective, because that was just 2 people, 3 people, and then it turned into 5 people thinking of this and just being in action. But then things on a higher scale just aligned so perfectly to where it happened, and just that one instant is always a reminder to keep that same energy, and that's how I keep going and just keep the ball rolling.
Wow, that's good. That touched my heart. It did. It did.
Yeah. Well, for me, I guess a big moment was when I went to see, like, Oprah went on tour in 2020 in Los Angeles. She was at the Forum,
Wow.
and I went to go see Oprah. And Oprah gives out like, she gives like the best little gift baskets. So in the baskets, you were given a journal. And in that journal, one of the questions was like, where do you see yourself, and how, and like, what are the steps that you need to take in order to get there? So one of the things that I wrote where I saw myself was being my own boss.
Wow.
And I wrote down a few steps that I thought that I needed in order to get there. So that's February 2020.
Wow.
As you guys know, COVID hit about a month later. And then maybe three months into COVID, I leave my job to start my own thing.
Boy.
What I wrote in that journal from February 2020.
Got right on it.
Yeah, I got right on it. But, it was faith. And I did do a lot of prayer because I was like, I have like great insurance. I have a good paycheck coming in. Like, leave. But it was like, yes, girl, you really want to leave. So yeah, I left. And leaving, and then, like I said, I officially launched in August of 2020, and launching with 7 clients. Like, I launched making more money than I was ever making.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's when you're under that umbrella of a corporation or another LLC, you're making that company money. You can be a valuable asset, generate revenue, but you're still limited. You got to play that corporate game. But once you take that small transition and have your own entity and still providing the same service to the same caliber of people, yeah, you're gonna run it up.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
God
like,
bless.
you're your own boss. You set your own rules, and you set your price.
Yes.
What you are worth. It's not someone else telling you, well, I'm only going to pay you $20 an hour. And you're like, well, no, I'm worth much more than that. So, you have to really just believe in yourself and know that you know what you're doing. And I will also say to people, like, don't tell other people what you want to do.
Ooh, that's good, Monique.
Because there's always people that don't see the vision that you have for you. And it's not for them to see. It's for you to see. So you trying to explain what you want to do to all these other people, you're going to be met with their negativity, and you're going to be met with like, no, you can't do that. Like, I don't even understand why you want to do that in the first place. And all this other stuff that just starts to seep into your head and get you off track.
Yeah.
You gotta cut them off.
You got to cut them off.
Yeah, I agree. You got to
do what you feel that you need to do that's best for your life. This is your life that you're messing with, not someone else's. Don't play on their turf. Like, you make your own path and go out and do it.
I agree.
Yeah, and there's no need to wait for anyone. You don't need permission to do it. Do it.
You're saying all the things that most people,
like, in anything that I've ever done in my life, I've never asked. I've just done it. And if it came out, and if I succeeded, great. If I failed, that's part of the process.
Because you
learn
from it,
is
right?
failing. So you learn from failure. So you take everything that you like. If you don't, like, for instance, the whole music thing, like, that didn't work out. But I learned so much from that process. I've learned so much about myself from that process. And I actually use a lot of those tools now. So it wasn't a failure. It was a lesson.
Yes. And just because you didn't have that singing career, it doesn't mean that you don't have the gift. Because just because you have a gift, sometimes you can have a lot of gifts. It doesn't mean that should be the main thing. Or maybe seasons change, that maybe you were good to do that in that season, but now, because I believe there are sometimes transition seasons where God will elevate you into something different. And for you in your situation, God just kind of elevated you into something, in a role. Same thing with you, Kevon. God elevated you. And the thing about it is, you're still in the midst of something that you still enjoy. You
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
it's like
you
it's like
still
it's like it's like it's like guys, we're all God's little individual crock pots. So everything, like you said, it's our life. Everything we ever learned, everything we ever absorbed and ever did, it's like we just gotta ride the wave and gotta be patient. Like you said, trust the process. Everything you learned just made you who you are and still making who we're gonna be in the future.
Yeah.
I'm excited that you guys took the time out to come on my podcast. This is something that I've been doing since June. And, my goal, my vision is it's never about, it's about getting genuine people on the platform, talking about real important issues, stepping out on faith with your business, balancing life with your kids. These things matter a lot, because somebody right now could be like, I have this vision, I have this, idea, but I'm really afraid to step out on it. I'm really, even if you don't want to quit your job, your 9 to 5, and you're not in a position to do that, still do it on the side. Make time for what it is that you're trying to do. That's what I do. I make time. Like starting this podcast, I make time because I work a full-time job as
Yeah.
well as my own business, as well as things I love to do. I make time for it. And so, but it's been a blessing having you guys both on here. I know
Yeah,
the viewers.
I love the podcast. Like that's so cool, and that's where it's at right now. Like you were head first, right, and what's the popping thing as far as media, like podcasts and the virtual media market is where it's at. So big ups to you, and I'm proud of both of you.
Thank
Yes. Proud of
you.
both of you.
Thank you.
But it's hard because sometimes you have podcasts, and you have people that are on there, and a lot of times there are things that are trending, and then there's some topics that are not trending. And so I knew that when I started my podcast, I wasn't going to focus on what's trending. When I say that, meaning not so much as topics, but so much as, if I'm not talking about certain things that people like to watch, certain
Trying
podcasts
to
get a
catch
lot of
that
million
algorithm.
views. If you're,
Just
if you kind of like a little ratchet, if
trying to
you
get
know
the
what I mean,
algorithm.
guys,
Yeah,
you get a lot of views if you're doing certain things. And I wanted to kind of stick to kind of like who I am, and whether I get views or not, I just wanted to bring genuine people talking about topics that matter to me.
that's
Well,
where
that's
it's
with
at.
anything. You have to stick to who you are.
Yeah.
hmm Keep it organic, because what you're doing is you're creating content. A year go by and you'll be like, "Wow, I got all this content." And then when those views compound, you'd be like, "That's pretty good." But then once you start to pop, you already have a lot of good content. It's talking about what people need to hear for their soul, and yeah, hey, you keep doing it.
Yeah,
Thank
keep
you.
doing it. Yeah, because you never know like who actually is listening and whose lives you have affected in a positive way. So even if it's one person, that just means it still means that you're doing a great job.
Thank you, guys. Well, we have to do this again, guys. I'm glad you guys took out the time to come back. And yeah,
I'm
you
always
guys have
down.
to come back one day, right? Again.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You had me excited because I don't do podcasts, so I try to be cute. I try to switch things up. So
If you guys have a links that you want, I know your clientele might be different, and you get your business in different streams or a different way. But um, if you want to leave a link or anything like that, just reach out to me, and I definitely will put it up under this video.
okay,
Okay.
we'll do it. Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good night.
All
Okay.
Thank
right,
Thank
God
you.
bless.
you. Good night.
For
All right, yeah.